Okay, this is advanced scene writing with a detailed look at Pulp Fiction, the syringe scene, Vincent's big test. Um, and this is an example of perfectly beat out, structured screenwriting that also has the author's voice. And one thing that I haven't told you guys yet is while you're writing, you do want to put your personality into this as well. This is going to follow everything that we've talked about, and I'm going to go once again through my how to fix a scene checklist that you will do. First, you're going to before you turn in your pages, you're going to go through your pages and you're going to fix all the formatting that we did previously. But now we're getting back into how to get the most out of your scene. And this Pulp Fiction scene really is a scene that has a perfect structure, great dialogue, fantastic action, and is written like he's obviously Tarantino's going to direct it, but he stays away from too much over directing in the scene, so you can read the scene and really enjoy the scene. And again, I had you watch the clip before we see it, so you had context. Again, notice that this is not exactly, this is the screenplay. This is not exactly like the movie. A couple things you'll notice immediately when we get into this. There's only 3 actors. Once we get into the house, I'm going to start before we get into the house. I'm going to show Vincent's urgency to get into the house and how he has to, sort of like use all of his, arsenal / tactics to get Lance to even help him give him the shot. So the scene's going to be bigger, more of a run up. And I'm going to give you context of the scene in the entire movie as well. But I really want you to, when I'm reading this and showing this to you, notice how different it is than the shot scene, and notice how Tarantino puts his voice into the screenplay, which as you are developing yourselves as screenwriters, you'll be able to put your own voices in. All right, so now I'm going to share, and we're going to look at Pulp Fiction. We're going to look at Pulp Fiction, the injection scene. One thing about Pulp Fiction, those of you who haven't seen it, it's one of Tarantino's, I'd say it's Tarantino's biggest movie. It was a phenomenon when it came out. It was like what Barbie did today, it did then. Tarantino went from a cool indie director to a big Hollywood megastar after this movie. John Travolta's career was resurrected. No one knew, you're not going to believe this, no one knew who Samuel Jackson was. Samuel Jackson, the king of everything today. This is the movie that made us know who Samuel Jackson was, a star-making role. Bruce Willis was a big star. This movie gave him acting credibility, right? So there was a really cultural event. The reason it worked so well was because it had a theme that essentially every single character had a chance of a resurrection. Every single major character had a chance of resurrection, except for the hero. And this is Vincent's shot of resurrection. He literally resurrects Mia Wallace from the dead with a stabbing, to the heart. And this is Vincent's warning, and Vincent doesn't heed it. Vincent dies, right? He's the hero. He dies in the movie, which is strange. It's told out of order. But the way Tarantino structures the movie, at the end of the movie, it's not in chronological sequence. We see Vincent and the Sam Jackson, Jules character, walking out. So Vincent gets a film movie resurrection, right? So it's for such a dark movie, it's really funny, and its themes of second chances we really responded to, and it really sort of had it really like took the world by storm, right? So the scene again, the needle resurrection scene, Vincent stabbing Mia Marcellus Wallace's, the mob boss's wife, in the heart with an injection of adrenaline to save her life. Really a big deal, right? So what's the through line or the spine for the entire story? Again, the through line of the story. This is a story of LA underworld gangsters, and the through line is, everybody in this movie, specifically Vincent, is doing a job, and they could be killed for doing the job, right? And Vincent does die, right? So the through line for the entire story is, attempted to survive, and only one character doesn't survive. That's Vincent Vega, who's going to save Mia Wallace's life. There's a mob boss, Marcellus Wallace, who is saved by the boxer, right? Who that's the and Ving Rhames, you guys probably remember. The reason you would know him if you saw the recent Mission Impossible, he's a recurring character on this. Nobody knew who he was before this movie either, right? But Willis saves everybody's saving everybody except the Travolta character is ironically killed by the Butch character, the boxer, right? So when we look at the scene, coming up to this scene, Vincent Vega was being tested, and he is forced to go out watch Mia Wallace's or Marcellus Wallace's wife, Mia. And there's a great scene in the beginning of the movie where the Samuel Jackson character and the Vincent Vega, John Travolta's character, are walking up and they're talking about how someone else who took Mia Wallace out on a Rocky Horror, how took Mia Wallace out on a date, was thrown out of a window. And the rumor was that he gave her a quote unquote foot massage, and that was it. So when Vincent's charged with taking Mia out, he brings all of this up, and Mia tells him that these guys are gossipy, ridiculous. Vincent gets back to the house after winning a dance contest, and there's really a big chemistry, and it seems like there's massive temptation. And he's in the bathroom and he's talking himself to leave. He's going to leave. He's not going to do anything to jeopardize his life. And while he's in the bathroom, saying he's going to leave, Mia finds a bag of, she thinks it's cocaine, it's heroin. And Vincent earlier got the heroin for the night from Lance, who you saw in the scene. He's the drug dealer. And Vince had it in his jacket. Mia snorts it and she's ODing. So what does this mean in the scene? If she dies, Vincent's dead. We're at page 54. Right? We love Vincent at this time. He's cool. He's funny. Him and Sam are great. Or Jules, Sam Jackson. We like Vincent. We want Vincent to survive. He just won a dance contest. We like him. We like Mia. We like everything about him. This is just about in the middle of the movie, right? We want him to pull this off, right? She's ODing. He's in the car. Again, Marcellus Wallace will kill him. And anyone who has anything to do with this. So Vincent has to go back to his drug dealer, and there's a really funny scene earlier when he buys the heroin, and is talking to Lance. Well, now Lance is Eric Stoltz, who was a big actor for a while. He plays Lance, is the drug dealer, and then he's got to go back to this house. Now, notice when I go through the scene, I'm going to lead up to before they get the needle. How hard, this is what I want you to pay attention to, how hard it is for Vincent to get into the house, how hard it is for Vincent to convince Lance to let him in the house, and then how hard it is to find this damn shot that nobody's ever used, right? And so major conflict in the scene is, is Mia Wallace, time and Mia Wallace. Remember we talked about it. Time is your friend in drama. Well, she's ODing, and notice as we go through the scene that constantly we're referencing that she's running out of time, right? Time. Who's driving the scene? You will see who's driving the scene is Vincent, right? Vincent Vega is driving the scene. Why? He has the most to lose, right? We're in his hot rod. He has one hand firmly on the wheel. You didn't see this in the clip. The other shifting like RoboCop. And this is listen to this dialogue. This is, I read any of this, Tarantino puts his own voice in it, right? Vincent, one hand firmly on the wheel, comma, the other hand shifting like RoboCop, both eyes staring straight ahead except when he glances over at Mia. Mia slack-jawed expression, mouth gaping, posture of a bag of water. Fantastic. Vincent takes a cellular phone out of his pocket. He punches a number, right? 1, 2, 3, great paragraphs. She's going to call Lance's house, right? Who's driving the scene? Vincent's driving the scene. Vincent's driving everything in the scene, right? What does every character want in the scene? Well, Vincent wants Mia to live. He wants Lance to help save him. Lance goes from not wanting Vincent in the house to becoming his ally, right? And there's another character in the movie. There's a friend. There's another woman in the house, right? In the script, there's only 3, right? There's only Jody, right, and Lance. And Jody, until the very end, is a fantastic character. She serves a huge obstacle, always disagreeing with Lance and Vincent. So when Lance is won over in the scene, right? When Lance is won over the scene, he wants Vincent out. He wants him to win. Jody doesn't really understand. Jody becomes an obstacle in the scene, which is the relationships. What's the relationship? Drug dealer, right? And Vincent, they're friends. They're not good enough friends, as you can see in the scene where Lance doesn't think that Vincent can get him in, but Vincent's going to tell Lance that you're going to die. Vincent plays the card. If I die, you die, right? And that wins Lance on. So that shows that they're really not great friends, and Vincent has to use all of his tactics to get what he wants, right? Jody, and what makes the scene so fantastic is Jody and Lance fighting throughout the scene, right? What's the major turn in the scene? Well, the major turn in the scene is what I basically showed you. It comes all the way down here, where right here. And the major turn in the scene is when they pull the needle out and they start putting the magic marker on the scene. That's the major turn in the scene. They save her life, right? They save her life, right? So in every well-written scene, there's a major turn. It's very clear. And when I read you this turn, right, it allows, and the scene's over shortly after that, it really has built to that moment and it's earned, right? And this is the one thing I love about the scene. Arc refers to the overall shape of the scene. Last week, we analyzed Get Out, we looked at Whiplash, and we looked at Lady Bird, right? And bad things happened at the end, right? So we had to give hope. All right, we had to give hope. Well, and this is the opposite, right? Arc refers to the shape of the scene. We look at the end. What happens at the end of the scene? She's going to live. So Tarantino does, if it's a positive that ends, let's make it as hard on Vincent as possible and to make us feel that it's absolutely impossible for Vince to get there. So he's driving, right? This late hour, Lance is transformed into the bon vivant drug dealer, or from a bon vivant drug dealer to a bathrobe creature. Fantastic writing, right? That's masterful screenwriting. He sits in a big comfy chair, ratty blue gym pants, worn out with a comfortable t-shirt, has written on it Taft, California, in his moth-ridden terry cloth robe. In his hand is a bowl of Captain Crunch with crunch berries. Again, I didn't show you this. In front of him is a coffee table, a jug of milk, box of Captain Crunch with crunch berries, a hash pipe in the ashtray. On the TV screen is the Three Stooges, and they're getting married. Hold hands, you lovebirds. The phone rings. So here's phones. This is how you do a phone conversation. We go into Lance's house. The phone rings. Capitalize. Why is it important? Because it's an important action. It's going to change the whole movie. Lance puts down the cereal box, right, and makes his way to the phone. It capital rings again. Jody, his wife, calls, right, from the window, right, from the bedroom, obviously woken up. Lance, the phone's ringing. This is off screen. We don't see him. I can hear it. I thought you told those fucking assholes never to call this late. I told them, and that's what I'm going to tell this fucking asshole right now. He answers the phone. Hello, do you know how late it is? You're not supposed to be calling me this fucking late. Back to Vincent in the Malibu. That's all you could say, intercut phone conversation, but back to Vincent in Malibu. And all you do is, this is a slug line that just allows us to go back and forth. You can see for now on, we don't say interior Lance's apartment, exterior car. It's just back to the Malibu. That allows us to know for now on, until they get together or this phone call's over, we are cutting back and forth. That's what it means, right? Very simple. Vincent is still driving like a stripe-assed ape. Tarantino using his voice, creating an image, clutching the phone to his ear. We cut back and forth during the conversation. Lance, this is Vincent. I'm in big fucking trouble, man. I'm on my way to your place, right? Lance, again, the relationship is going to say no. Whoa, hold your horses, man. What's the problem? You still got the adrenaline shot? He doesn't lay it out here. Oh, you know what the adrenaline shot is. He just says, you got it. Maybe. Right? I need it, man. He's not saying, I got a chick, she's fucking ODing on me. Don't bring her here. Right? No, this is bad for Vincent. I'm not even fucking joking with you. Don't bring some fucked up poo bud to my house. No choice. She's ODing. Yeah, she's ODing. Yeah, she's dying. Then bite the fucking bullet, take her to the hospital and call a lawyer. Like I said, Lance, there's a relationship. Too bad, right? Vincent, negative, right? He's trying everything he can to get Lance to not only let him in, but to give her the shot. She ain't my fucking problem. You fucked her up, deal with it. You're talking to me on a cellular phone, realizing subtext, I'm a drug dealer. Whoop, oops, sorry. I don't know you. Who is this? Don't come here. I'm hanging up. Too late. I'm already here. At that moment inside Lance's house, we hear Vince's Malibu coming up the street. Lance hangs up the phone, goes to his curtain and yanks the cord, right? The curtain opens with a whoosh in time to see Vincent Malibu driving up in front of the lawn and crashing into the house. He literally crashes into the house. The window Lance is looking out shatters from the impact. What the hell was that? Lance charges from the window out to the door to the front lawn. And the reason we didn't have to reslug Lance's is because up here, right, we go from, right, interior, right, Lance's house, and it's intercut. So we're still in Lance's house. And now where are we, right? We are outside. Remember earlier, EXT dash simple Lance's house night. We're just outside, right? So he comes through the window. We cut. We're cutting the fluff between the scene. We don't need to see Vincent get her out of the car, right? As I showed you earlier, right? Vincent is already out of the car, working on getting Mia out. We didn't need to see him get. We're there. It's a cut, and you're cutting without cutting just by dropping the slog line. Lance, have you lost your mind? You crashed your car in my fucking house. You talk about drug shit on your cellular phone. This is a dash, right? That means we're cutting them off. If you're through having your little hissy fit, this chick is dying, and get your needle and get it now, right? We're trying to, as I said, make it as hard as possible, right? Lance is not going to say, sure, I'll get my needle. Are you deaf? You're not bringing that fucked up bitch into my house. This fucked up bitch is Marcellus Wallace's wife, right? Now, if she fucking croaks on me, I'm a grease spot. But if he turns me into a bar soap, I'm going to be forced to tell him about how you could have saved her life, but instead you let her die on your front lawn, right? Vince willing to do anything to get in, threatening Lance, right? Interior Lance. Now look at this. We cut into the house, right? We start in Lance's house in Jody's bedroom. Jody in bed throws off the covers and stands up. She's wearing a long t-shirt with a picture of Fred Flintstone on it. She's not in the scene, but it gives cool atmosphere in the script. We follow handheld behind her. We really don't in the movie, but he's doing it for effect. As she opens the door, walking through the hall into the living room. It's only 1:30 in the goddamn morning. What the fuck is going on here? As she walks in the living room, she sees Vincent and Lance standing over Mia. Like, we didn't see Vincent and Lance walk in the house. They're just in there. You can move through time, which we did. Who's lying on the floor in the middle of the room. From here on in, this is Tarantino's voice. This is unbelievable, right? Everything in this scene is frantic, like a documentary in an emergency ward, with the big difference here being nobody knows what the fuck they're doing. We're creating an atmosphere. Tarantino using his voice. Jody, who's she? Lance, that's a Jody. And this is where we start. This is where you guys start. This is the clip. Get that black box in the room. I have with the adrenaline shot. What's wrong with her? She's ODing on me, on us, he says, right? We'll get her the hell out of here. And both of them. Remember earlier when we were doing the note, I said, put the and, right? And he throws it in stereo, Lance and Vincent. That was pretty funny. Get the fucking shot. Don't yell at me. Remember, she's going to provide conflict in this entire scene. She angrily turns and disappears in the bedroom looking for the shot. We move in the room with the two men. You two are a match made in heaven. Look, just keep talking to her, okay? While she's getting the shot, I got to get a medical book. We got to make it as hard as Vincent possible. What we're about to find out is that Lance doesn't know, has never done this before, right? What do you need a medical book for? To tell me how to do it. I've never given an adrenaline shot before. You've had that thing for 6 years and you've never used it, right? I've never had to use it. I don't go joy popping with bubble gummers. All of my friends can handle their highs. Well, get it. I am, if you'll let me. I'm not fucking stopping you. Stop talking to me and start talking to her, right? Because time's running out. We follow Lance as he runs in the living room into a spare room, right? It's a sub-slug, right? You can just drop into a spare room instead of the continuous thing. You can just drop it like that with a bunch of junk in it. He frantically starts scanning the junk for the book he's looking for, repeating the words, come on, endlessly. Instead of putting that in Dialogue, you can drop it you can drop it into a scene in the description. From off screen, we hear, "Hurry up, man, we're losing her. I'm looking as fast as I can," right? "Hurry up, we're losing her. Time's running out." Lance continues his frenzied search. We hear Jody in the living room. Now she talks to Vincent. "What's he looking for?" "I don't know. Some medical book." Jody calls to Lance. "What are you looking for?" Again, comedy, but conflict. "My black medical book." As he continues searching, flipping through and knocking over shit, Jody appears. Why are you, what are you looking for?" "My black fucking medical book. It's like a textbook they give nurses." "I never saw a medical book. Trust me, I have one." "Well, if it's that important, why didn't you keep it with the shot?" Lance spins towards her. "I don't know. Stop bothering me." Remember, Lance is with Vincent now. Now she is making it harder. "While you're looking for it, that girl's going to die on our carpet. You're never going to find it in all this shit. For 6 months now, we've been telling you how to clean this room. Get your ass in here. Fuck the book." Lance angrily knocks over a pile of shit and leaves the shot, heading to the living room. Vincent is bent over Mia, talking softly to her when Lance re-enters. Again, we jump through time, right? "Quit fucking around, man, and give her the shot." Lance bends down by the black case brought in by Jody. He opens it and begins preparing the needle for injection. We haven't hit the turn yet. We're about to hit the turn. He's pulling the needle for injection. "While I'm doing this, take her shirt off and find her heart," right? Another obstacle, right? Vincent rips her blouse open. Jody stumbles back in the room, hanging back from the action. Remember, in the scene, there's another character in there. Obviously, in Tarantino, thought it'd be interesting with a bigger audience. Not in the script, though. Does it have to be exact? Yeah, it has to be exact. I'm giving her injection in the heart, so I got to hit her in the heart. "Well, I don't know exactly where her heart is. I think it's here." Vincent points to Mia's right breast. Lance glances over and nods. That's it. As Lance readies the injection, Vincent looks up at Jody. "I need a big," this is great, showing that even though that they need to proceed, they don't want to make a mistake. And it's funny, but it is another beat that's an earned beat now that we're in the conflict. "I need a big fat magic marker." "Got one?" "What?" "I need a big fat magic marker. Any felt plan would do, but a magic marker would be great." "Hold on." Jody runs to the desk, opens the drawer, and in her enthusiasm, she pulls the drawer out of her desk, the containers of which, bills, papers, pans, spilled on the floor. The injection is ready. Here we go for the term. Lance hands Vincent the needle. "I'm ready. I'll tell you what to do." "You're going to give her the shot. This is great." Vincent, our hero, Vincent, the only one who's going to die in the movie, is forced to take action because he has the most at stake. "Vincent, you're going to give her the shot." "No, you're going to give her the shot. I've never done this before." "Lance, I've never done this before either, and I ain't starting now. You brought her here. That means you give her the shot. The day I bring an ODM bitch to your place, then I give her the shot." Jody hurriedly joins them in the huddle with a big, fat, red magic marker in hand. "Got it." Vincent grabs the magic marker out of Jody's hand and makes a big red dot on Mia's body where her heart is. Notice no camera directions. It's all done with the dialogue and the description. "Okay, what do I do?" "Well, you're giving her an injection of adrenaline straight to her heart, but she's got a breastplate in front of her, so you got to pierce through that heart. So what you got to do is bring the needle down in a stabbing motion." Now, this is not in the movie, but look how this language gives us the image. Lance demonstrates a stabbing motion, which looks like the shape killing its victim in Halloween, right? Very, very well done. "I got to stab her." If you want the needle to pierce through her heart, you got to stab her hard. Then once you do, push down the plunger. "Vincent, what happens after that?" I'm curious about that myself. This ain't a fucking joke, man. She's supposed to come out of it like that, right? And this is parenthetical, and it affects the way he says that, so you would embed it in there like that. Vincent lifts the needle above his head in a stabbing motion, looks down at Mia here, and now here we go. We're getting into the test, the turn, the scene, what we've been waiting for. And again, you're at page 60. We land at page 54. We are so tense with this sequence. When you first see this movie, what happens next is all you're asking. What happens next, right? And Tarantino tells us Mia's fading fast. Soon nothing will help her. Vincent, eyes narrow, ready to do this. Count to 3. Lance on his knees, right beside Vincent, does not know what to expect. 1. Red dot on Mia's body, right? There's no shot. He just writes red dot on Mia's body, space. That's the shot. And you remember watching it, right? Needle raised, ready to strike. 2, right? Jodie's face alive with anticipation. And remember her smile, right, in the thing. Needle in the air, poised like a rattler ready to strike, right? That's implying a cut back to the needle, right? And needle leaves frame, thrusting hard. All of these, their own lines because they are significant actions. Vincent brings the needle down hard. Stabbing, of course we capitalize stabbing, Mia in the chest. Mia's head is jolted, right? Is jolted from the impact. The syringe plunger is pushed down, pumping the adrenaline out through the needle. Mia's eyes pop wide open and she lets out the hellish cry of the banshee. Again, Tarantino using his description to create the atmosphere. Different than the scene, but we get it. She bolts up in a sitting position, needle stuck in her chest, screaming. Remember, everybody scattered, right? Vincent, Lance, and Jodie, who were sitting positions, right? In front of Mia, jump back, scared to death. Mia scream, runs out. She slowly starts taking breaths of air. The other 3 now scooted halfway across the room, shaken to their bones. Look to see if she's all right. If you're okay, say something. Mia, still breathing, not looking up at them, says in a relatively normal voice, something, right? This is the turn, right? We made it. Vince and Lance collapse. They do that in the scene, exhausted, shaking. Anybody want a beer? That's not the line in the movie. She says that was fucking cool, right? And now Vincent's outside with me and they're going to make the deal not to say anything, right? This scene, and literally almost every climactic scene in this movie, is a lesson on scene structure, a lesson on how dialogue moves the scene forward. But this is the Tarantino's master scene. The other one that I would suggest that you study, if you haven't seen Inglourious Basterds, is the opening in Inglourious Basterds, when the quote unquote Nazi, who they call the Jew hunter, has come into the house and there's a family hidden underneath the house, and he's interrogating a man up on the house, knowing that there are people hidden under the house, and he's building until they kill them all. It's structured like this. It's very dramatic. Great way to start the movie. Just like this, right? Just like this is an unbelievably perfectly structured scene that takes advantage of all of this, you know. And when I say that tactics, you see all of the tactics that Vincent takes, the beats, right? As we talked about last time, each line of dialogue to get what we want is Vincent using his words and using his action to convince Lance, and eventually when he's in the house, right, to try to save Mia, to at the end taking actual action that saves her life, right? Just beats that perfectly shape the scene, right? The entire screenplay, if you haven't seen the movie, you should watch the movie, but if you haven't read it, it is just, it's just a lesson in not only how to write scenes that follow the structure, but how to Tarantino using his voice. And it's not, all of his language does not transfer exactly into the movie, but it gives you the feeling. And that's your job. There's a difference between a writer and a director. Now, this won best screenplay. Oh, wow, it's 403. Boo me. The other screenplays, I'm not going to read them, but I'm going to, especially this one. Read this whole screenplay. This won the Oscar, right? And this is the scene, what you saw. This is the scene where in Little Miss Sunshine, there's a character who does not speak, right? And Dwayne does not speak. He's the stepson, and he realizes he's colorblind. And you saw the scene, how it goes. And it's so great because it ends in a positive, believe it or not, because he jumps out of the car, he runs down, and he tells everybody, which is not in the scene, but it builds to this. He stands up and screams. First time he speaks, I don't care, I'm not getting in the bus again. So first time he spoke in the whole movie, he's refused to speak through the whole movie. He writes, right? But he tells us the truth. You're not my family. I don't want to be your family. I hate you fucking people. I hate you, right? This is the turn, right? Divorce, bankrupt, divorce to his mom, bankrupt to his stepdad, suicide to his uncle. You're losers. You're fucking losers. And guess what? It's all true. Everyone is stunned. Dwayne puts his hands over his eyes and sits down. Just leave me, Mom. Please, just leave me here, right? Cheryl gets back, I don't know what to do. And Richard, who's trying to be this father, we talked about this. This is the really a moment where in the scene where he does not try to use his BS sort of tactics, his I wrote a self-help book. No, we're gonna be late. Can we leave somebody here with him? I'll stay. No, we're not doing that. Olive, you want to talk to him? No, Richard, there's nothing to say. We can't do it. He was right, right? Olive walks down, right? Then Olive walks over and sits down next to Dwayne, right? Richard made his first Olive, you want to talk to him, knowing that she's probably the only one who has any real relationship with him. He doesn't need a lecture right now. He's just lost his life dream and he's told everybody the truth. Dwayne's face is red, snot is dribbling from his nose. He has a piece of straw, he's been poking ants in the grass. She puts her arm on his shoulder, watches him poke. The ants climb busily over the grass. They sit quietly. He stands up. Okay, let's go. This action is the turn. It's his sister, and he realizes, I can't let her down. That's her dream. I'm not gonna because my dream's over. I'm not gonna let her. I'm not gonna kill her dream too because I love her, right? And he walks back. It's such a beautiful. If you haven't seen this movie, and you again, this is an Oscar-winning screenplay, right? And the scene is structured with him finding out he's colorblind. He gets out of the car, right? We have an emergency. We have an emergency. They get out of the car and they run down. At the end of this scene, right? He comes up and he says, "I apologize for the things that I said. I was upset. I really didn't mean them." And it's great, right? Frank, Dwayne, we know you did. Frank, it's okay. Let's go. They all start pushing the bus, right? And that's the metaphor. They push the bus and they're off, right? It's just at the end, they're a family, but it goes from the one kid who won't talk and he literally tells them exactly how they feel. Just like in the Tarantino scene where everything pays off right here. This is the turning point of the movie, right? Vincent's is the turning point of the movie. In Pulp Fiction, that's the turning point of the movie. And that's where Vincent should have learned his lesson. And guess what? He doesn't. He's going to die soon, right? But Richard has learned his lesson and he's going to save his family, right? They're just these are Oscar winning screenplays, right? These are it's like Lady Bird, Whiplash, all these screenplays I'm showing you are just phenomenal screenplays. What we did earlier today, fixing the formatting. I want you to fix the formatting before you go and structure your scenes like this and do the beating out the scenes. And when you send me your work, hold on, let me stop.